Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for taking the time to make your own magic on the 12-week year. This is a complex book. It's a complex project that it takes a lot of effort to stay with it for the 12 weeks. So thanks for even considering it. And I'm so glad that you're in group. And the group, oh my gosh, each week I just can't believe how much smarter all of you are making me. It's crazy. And I love the Facebook group. So thank you for participating there as well. And so today, what I want to really just go back through is talking about those blocks. And so there's the strategic block, which is the big one, the buffer block, and then the breakout block. So, and when you're thinking, and just how are you going to think about it? That's the first. I think that for me, of when I started to really get how busy my life was, and how many projects I have running at all times, because a lot of times I have 50, like literally 50 different businesses or projects that I'm trying to manage at one time. And that's a lot. So, and I had to really think about how I was going to do that. And I have one here, right? I have these little timers. This is my secret weapon. Thank you, Amy, years ago for turning me on to a timer. But this is a Pomodoro timer. So it gets this beautiful red item. So this is a tool I use a lot so that I can really hold myself accountable. One of the things that somebody said early, oh, and it's got this fabulously loud off, bam, but it makes no noise. It ticks, not a sound does it make as it works. And that's why I like it. Amazon, have it sent to your door. So when we think about strategic block, that's the big one. So if you can focus on strategic block, you're going to win. I was thinking about how to explain this. And for those of you who watch me on stage, and we've talked about boundaries and the purpose of a boundary, and a strategic block is a boundary, is that you'll see me stand. First of all, you'll see me like make everyone leave the front row, where I'm like, okay, you guys want to get up out of your seats because this isn't going to go well for you. And then I'll invite somebody to come up on stage with me, and I'll invite them to hold this cup, and I'll pour myself another cup of water. And then I'll ask them to hold this very far out in front of them. And I'll say, okay, let's talk about the purpose of a boundary. Most of you have learned that keeping a boundary is to keep something out. And I'll just have them hold this glass very far out. And then I'll throw another glass of water at it, and water goes everywhere. It's really quite a mess. And it's very alluring. I like to do it on stage a lot. And I'll say to you, that's a terrible use of a boundary. Keeping things out is a terrible use of a boundary. Deciding what goes in, that is the magic of a boundary. And that is the purpose of a strategic block. So how are you going to use a strategic block? The strategic block for you is to say, here's my boundary of time. Now you can do an hour 3 times in a week, but you want 3 hours of it. I need the 3 hours because I need to be able to have enough bite in the week to be able to get that 3-hour block. And you want to do it during a business day. You're not doing this late at night. You're really going to say, here's my 3 hours. And the reason you want it at a time where you are magic is because you'll just have the energy to do it. So you're looking at, right, the use of a boundary, which is a block. And you're looking for that block, and you're really saying, here are the tasks that I'm doing towards my big vision. You're going to figure out how and what am I putting in my strategic block. So when you are looking at that, if that is, some of you have things around editing, some of you have time management, some of you have calendaring, some of you have outreach, some of you are doing business goals, some of you have accounting, some of you have proposals that have to be written. Some of you have actual writing, physical writing to do on your project. Some of you have publishing. That all of those tasks, you're going to want to try to fill your cup with this list of things that you can work on. And then you're going to really get in, dig in, and run as fast as you can in that 3-hour time limit. So you can break it up into smaller cups. I'm a fan of the big cup. Now, when you think about the other ones, which is a buffer block and a breakout block. So when you think of a breakout block, I would think about all of the garbage that you've been putting into your own head as a boundary. This is the time that you empty it out. That's what a buffer block is a buffer block says everything that was in here, I'm going to turn it upside down and I'm throwing it away. You're going to go goof around. And goofing around should be something that's helping, not bad for you. So what you want is, I would think about that as a date with yourself in doing something that's kind of rewarding. Sometimes that's just a walk in nature. Sometimes that's, just doing something that is actually rewarding for you. So that's really a breakout block. It's a way to say, look, at Friday at 4, I'm out of here. And I'm out of here to do this other thing that maybe I've been putting off or that I wouldn't do normally, right? This is a time to maybe go see a movie or whatever it is, whatever your breakout block is there. A buffer block is really a sideways. It's really a sideways kind of thing. What I am doing in a buffer block, if I can spatially figure out how to make this look like that. I love being dyslexic. This is one of those moments where my dyslexia really shows itself. But when you're thinking about a buffer block, what you want to be able to do is look. I don't know why I can't get this right. Okay, but a buffer block, wow, this is so fantastic. A buffer block, the purpose of it is that it's to buff out something. It's to give you some time to be able to do any of the tasks that you haven't gotten done. So a buffer block is an insurance policy to say, oh, it's only halfway full. Let me get some time to tip my cup up and fill in any other tasks I don't. So when you think about a buffer block, I would think about that as a quick reset time. So if you didn't get time to fill, I am screwing up trying to keep this cup straight. I'm going to give it up. I'm just going to give it up. But when I would think about a buffer block, like I didn't get enough filled, so I just need a little more to pour some in. So it's a time that you can have set aside. It's even, there's nothing there. If you don't need it, you can throw it away. But if you need to add a little bit more into that main cup, this is your space. So a buffer block, I try to put in, like, it kind of buys you some time to go, if I didn't get all the stuff in my cup, right? Because the cup is a boundary. If I didn't get all the stuff into my cup that I wanted to in that week, I got 2 other spots that I can catch up. So even if, and I kind of think about it as the backup to the backup, it's a reassurance plan for sure. It's to be able to say, I'm going to put this boundary on I'm going to put the strategic time boundary in here. But if something happens, I'll give you an example from my own life, which it just happened, which is that, I had a family emergency. So that the 3-hour block of time that I had to do my stuff, I ended up going to ER. So sometimes if there's a family emergency during that strategic block, you can put together these neutral safety blocks. This cup and me. You can put into these neutral blocks together to go, oh, hold on, I can open up my cup and I can still fill it with strategic time, even though I didn't get it done on the time I want. So that is the magic of a boundary. And that's your prosperity concept. So if you've been to prosperity class with me, you've seen me talk about the cup a lot. We've seen me talk about, right, what is the point of a cup? And this is also your prosperity in general. That's really what you're doing in this process. That's actually the number one reason why I chose this to teach for all of you, is because it really does help you align the other prosperity concepts that we've talked about, which is put some boundaries around the time, fill that time with the magic that you want. Fill that time with the things that are the most meaningful to you. Fill that time with the things that are about you and your life, and magnify from that point, right? So you want this cup filled with you, things that make your life better, things that make your magic more awesome, because it's the only cup you can own. You own your time. And some of you sell your time to other people for the benefit of you having money in your cup for when it's your time. So sometimes, you know, when you think about this cup and how much of it we give away, or how much of it you let other people pour their garbage into, if you ever want to think about something that is just completely crummy, it is to imagine yourself at a party with all of your friends, and as they leave, they just pour whatever's left in their cup into your cup and then ask you to drink it. Now, in the bar industry, we used to call that a train wreck at the end of the night, that we would take the mat that we've been pouring all of our drinks on during the day, during the whole night, and it's like filled with everything that I spilled all night long. And we would pick up that mat and we would fold it and we would pour it into a cup. And if there was some unlucky person there that was just completely obnoxious or whatever, we would invite them to what we lovingly called the train wreck as their free drink to get them to leave. It's you know, again, it's all in fun. It's all in fun, but getting to drink a train wreck of your own life is terrible. And that is everyone else deciding what goes into your cup that you drink. No. And that's exactly what we're trying to avoid, is to say, this is your cup, you own it, it's yours. So fill it with the things that are important to you, right? This is the life you want to do. This is the healthy choices that you want to make. This is the book that you want to write. This right here, this is you spending time with you. Oh, over here, this is the education you're going to get, right? You want to put your boundaries around that time to do it for you. And yes, this is the water cup at my desk. I don't know when I went to McDonald's, but it was a while ago. So three kinds of blocks that they are calling them blocks: the strategic blocks, the buffer blocks, the breakout blocks. Have a great week. Thank you so much for taking the time for you. I do appreciate all of the things that you guys are putting in on Facebook, all the things that you are teaching me and that you're teaching everyone else. And, you know, I'm glad to be here with you. All right. See you soon. Bye.